Champions League winners in 2018-19 when they got 97 points, just pipped by Manchester City. The following year, 99 points to win the Premier League, and then that drop-off with a couple of domestic cup wins as well in 21-22. And they were chasing 4 trophies. If this is the end, Roy, for this team, are we remembering them as a great Liverpool team?
No, forget about it. That's not enough to be classed as a great team over that number of years. No. Don't know what you're staring at me for.
What else
I don't know what you say, a great team. No, that's not enough prizes to... They've been competing, they've been brilliant to watch. Yeah, but I would put that down as a great team.
I think for those 3 years they were a great team. There's 2 factors that I would put alongside it. One, that they were up against a City team which has just got 100 points. I mean, we never got... But we didn't get 100 points, to be fair. They got 90 late 90s points. It's outrageous they didn't win the league with that number of points. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I do think for 3 years they achieved a level of where they were getting to the Champions League final. They won the league. They got
3 Champions League finals in that time.
No, but sorry, they won the Champions League and they got to other finals. I do think in that 3-year period they were a great side, because you don't do that, I think, unless you did. But the reason I don't think they won the trophies that Roy's talking about is because of Manchester City. And that's a big problem for them, that obviously City are just exceptional. Roy said they're one of the greatest Premier League teams we've ever seen, and that's the problem they've had. Similar with Jurgen Klopp probably at Munich when they were up against that team that won the treble, the Heinkes team, that obviously you just sometimes come up against. I think we'd have won with United in 2008 to 11. More Champions Leagues if it wasn't for Barcelona, the greatest champion.
But that's part of the game. You're just going to reel off names. That's part of the competition.
But I do think for 3 years they were achieving a great level.
Great team?
I think the way they played, yes. I think now you see in the midfield and the way they used to press and how they used to harry people, and then the front three, I think for that period they were great. But you're asking, no disrespect to me and Gary, 2 good players. But, you know, Roy's at a different level, so to a great team to us might be different to Roy, but the way they played and the intensity and what they give the Liverpool fans for 3 years were a great team.
I agree with both of them in that I think I said last season, this team hasn't won enough for how good it is. So I do think they were a great team, but great teams will win the league 3 times, will win the Champions League 2 or 3 times. And again, Gary's right, you're up against Manchester City, but that is the name of the game. And you think of all the great Liverpool teams, because we were talking about this team as being one of the best we've seen in Liverpool's shape, but then you think of like teams winning 3 or 4 league titles in a row, European Cups year after year. You know, we can talk about points tallies and exactly right, what we have seen here under Jurgen Klopp has been absolutely outstanding. But I just feel just wanted another league or another European Cup. I just felt one more big trophy. Just needed. But listen, what they've done and how they've entertained us for the last sort of 4 or 5 years has been absolutely out of this world. But I do think there does need to be big changes in the summer.
Jurgen Klopp's already talked about that. He seemed quite subdued then, perhaps drained by the emotion of the occasion as well. Do you have any doubts that he is going to have the energy to drive this team on?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think he's an absolutely brilliant manager, but I think like a lot of top managers, he'd be looking at his group of players and scratching his head. You know, they're 8 in the league. Liverpool 8 in the league. It's hard to understand with the quality they have going forward. But they've been all over the place. When you look at the start of the season, how poor they were. And the biggest, I suppose, insult you can give this team is they're easy to play against. Easy, and I think that's gone back to the very start of the season. Teams have found it easy, whereas remember when they were at the very, very best, you'd be saying, well, you wouldn't have faced Liverpool today. Even Arsenal, they had got great joy in the first half. But every team now, most teams are getting a bit of joy against them. And again, if you're a footballer and people say, but you're really good at home, but you're not great away from, I think that'd be like a dagger in my heart.
Liverpool can't cope now and play a team physically intensely for 90 minutes. We were saying before the game, there will be a spell in this game when Arsenal are going to be asked real questions. It might be a 20-minute spell or a half-an-hour spell, and we saw that in the second half. Liverpool can't now play for 90 minutes at the level they used to, because there isn't the energy and the intensity when the team is just.
But Jim, even when they went to Bournemouth a few weeks ago, Bournemouth struggling near the bottom of the table, and the way they started the game, whatever about not being able to reach the standards, but I'm talking about the basics of being a professional footballer. They were just going through the motions. They didn't create any chances. They again missed the penalty. Salah was laughing after missing the penalty. You know, you're talking about top international footballing players here. So I think also these lads just took their eye off the ball. Sometimes they lose that bit of hunger. Whatever happens, and the group has lost it, and it's very hard to get it back.
Jurgen Klopp's come out with a brutal statement this week in an interview with Sky, where he said that I take 100% of the responsibility for this rubbish. And that's admirable of him to actually stand up and say that as a manager, because it's what you'd want your manager to say. But I have to say, he must be looking at some of the things that he's seen out on that pitch and thinking, what the hell are they doing? Some of it is just the basics. I cannot believe some of the things that I'm watching from some of the players. This is nothing to do with coaching. It's nothing to do with Jurgen Klopp. He's a great coach. He's a great manager. He's got brilliant performances out of Liverpool for 6 years. Some of the players who are doing the things that we're talking about now are players who've played with him for 6 years, who've reached high standards. I can't believe what I'm seeing at times during matches. And that's the stark thing that I think he'll be bemused by. He's probably thinking, do I need to lose faith in some of these players who've done so well by me? Because they're not that old, like 31 or 30. They should have another 3-4 years left in them.
These players are letting that manager down, big style. To be 8 in the table, nowhere near good enough for a club like
Yeah, but
Liverpool.
when you're talking about the age, and what you've got to remember is Liverpool have gone from home. It's the intensity that they play with for 5 or 6 years. So is there almost like a shelf life if you're in a Jurgen Klopp team, how long you can keep doing that and playing the way Liverpool play? We know it's not a... Yes, they keep possession, but it's not Manchester City where a lot of the games are, they're strolling around and keeping the ball. It's the actual way Jurgen Klopp plays. And you'd also have to question that style in terms of the longevity of it, because something similar happened to Borussia Dortmund, where after sort of 5 or 6 years, I think Borussia Dortmund actually found themselves bottom of the league. In the first half of that season, they got themselves back from that. But it'll just be really interesting, because Jurgen Klopp is questioned at times for being too loyal to certain players. So I just think this summer is absolutely pivotal in terms of Liverpool getting back.
You said it yourself, from rock and roll to the waltz.
Yeah. Well,
He looks like he's going for a waltz tonight. I don't know if he's come in or he's going out.
I just say it's spring, summer 23. We've gone past mid-grade. It's not mid-grade.